The amount of close friends that betrayed 6ix9ine after his snitching is unbelievable. The list gets more and more intense, so don't miss out on what we have for you today. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Because I thought he was a nice guy, and now we can't, he can't be my friend. He can't come around me ever again.
Do you want to win any of these items on the screen? If so, be sure to watch the whole video, leave a like, and comment the hidden message. And with that being said, let's get right back into the video. Sara Molina.
You're going through a very hard time right now. With Tekashi locked up.
Sara Molina may not be a name you recognize right off the bat, but trust me when I say that she plays a big part in 6ix9ine's life, or at least she did before certain things happened that we'll get into shortly, because at one point in time she was 6ix9ine's girlfriend, to the extent that she eventually became the mother of his only child, a daughter to be specific, named Saraya. But trust me when I say this was not a fairy tale romance, not even close to it.
Yeah, absolutely. He left. He did what he did. He made his bed. Now he has to lie in it.
In fact, Sara has come out in the months after 6ix9ine's arrest and gave rather grisly details of what their relationship was truly like. And no one knew these details before 6ix9ine's arrest, including how he would, quote, rough her up and even force her to do intimate acts, which is honestly really sad to hear about, and our sympathy goes out to her. That is also how Sara Molina got pregnant with this child, Saraya, and it's Sara who is taking care of the young Saraya now. It gets more interesting and actually kind of worse because 6ix9ine would threaten her constantly, and it took everything she had just to get away with him so that she could protect her daughter, as she rightfully should, and she feared that 6ix9ine would somehow get custody over her, which thankfully didn't happen, and won't happen now because of his official criminal record and the whole scandal he is currently involved in.
I'm left to pick up the pieces of whatever mess he's made, which is and has always been a thing.
If that wasn't enough, she might have been the reason that 6ix9ine went to jail if he hadn't gotten arrested by the FBI, because she was ready and willing to go to the police and confess to all of them the horrible and heinous stuff that he did to her, and the only reason she didn't was because of the events of November 2018. So usually, that would be enough of a reason to not support him, unlike his current girlfriend Jade. But it gets worse, because when 6ix9ine snitched on his group, he didn't bother to tell Sara that he was going to do this. Why does it matter? Because the 9 Trey Bloods are going to come after 6ix9ine at some point in time, or better yet, come after those 6ix9ine cares about to get him indirectly. The FBI is working hard right now to try and dismember the group, but it's not going to happen before 6ix9ine gets out, more than likely. Thus, there are going to be members of the group who want to hurt 6ix9ine in any way that they can, and since he snitched in February of 2019, that means that Sara has been living in fear of retaliation for many months now, and she knew that it was 6ix9ine to blame rightfully. Sara has even done interviews and shared her opinions on the subject. Now, if we're being objective here, given their relationship status and the fact that she's a known hater of 6ix9ine, it is very unlikely that the 9 Trey Bloods would have gone after her, which is proven in that she's still alive and well with Saraya, and no major news has been broken about her in many months. But never leave it past a group like the 9 Trey Bloods to go after anyone who might have a connection to 6ix9ine. Revenge is revenge, and even if he doesn't care about Sara, he might care about Saraya. A grim thought, yes, but you have to consider all the options here. So I hope after all this detail you see exactly why Sara Molina isn't going to be running around or with 6ix9ine after he gets out of jail. But you tell me this, do you think the moment he gets out of jail that she should file those lawsuits and such that she threatened earlier? Do you think that something could come of it? Let me know in the comments down below. Gravano. Gravano is another name that you might not know about that well, and that's okay. To put it bluntly, Gravano is a wife of a mob boss, so much so that she was actually put onto a show called Mob Wives, because clearly there are no new ideas in television anymore. Focusing back on her, she actually knew 6ix9ine, and she's one of the few people who have said nice things about him in any capacity, such as, he was an articulate, nice kid who was serious about his rap business. I never believed he was a true street kid. In my opinion, he was an entertainer, and people around him should have recognized that. Everything we've seen over the past year since his arrest have proven that while she might think these things about him, that's not exactly who he is, and it has been proven in court via wiretaps and more. She's also one of the few people in this world that try to condone his snitching in her own way. Obviously, as a mob wife, she knows that snitching is the worst form of betrayal. In fact, the mob and group like the 9 Treys have very similar philosophies when it comes to snitching. Mainly, if you do it, you're not going to be around for much longer. According to her, what 6ix9ine did in terms of snitching was the difference between checkers and chess, meaning that it wasn't the full-blown snitching that everyone usually complains about, as he wasn't just snitching on people to save himself, he was doing it to try and ensure life for himself or something like that. So you would think that this is someone who is standing by 6ix9ine in his corner, but is she? First off, she doesn't really have the power to do anything for him aside from saying a few key words. Second, because 6ix9ine is a full-on snitch, no matter your interpretation, he is without a doubt a person that won't be welcomed into her home again. Snitches have no place in a residence for obvious reasons. And as for how he's a nice kid, you almost have to wonder if he was just putting on an act for Karen Gravano. Was it something that he did because he knew that taking off a mob wife or anyone in that household would be a bad thing? It's hard to say, but given that no one is saying that 6ix9ine is a nice kid, is very telling. Finally, while she was partially right in that 6ix9ine was never truly a street kid, that was part of his illusion. Most people didn't believe that he was a member of the 9 Trey Bloods because he wasn't the type. He would soon prove many people wrong. He seemed like he was fake flexing, that he wasn't really a part of the group but just trying to associate with them. So that means she was fooled just like the rest, because the FBI didn't make him a snitch then jail him. He got arrested for various crimes and then he became a snitch. That is a huge difference right there. Nicki Minaj.
Following her post, fans jumped on social media to show their disapproval of Nicki's support for 6ix9ine.
Here's another very curious case of friendship in regards to 6ix9ine, because without a doubt, one of the biggest things he has done in his career was team up with Nicki Minaj for the song called Fifi, and for whatever reason, Nicki Minaj made it clear that she is a fan of 6ix9ine by not just doing that song, but supporting him throughout. When he got arrested, she made a message on Instagram confirming the delay of some music, and then went on to send love to him. For reasons beyond music, the record company will hold off on putting his project out for now. Minaj wrote, "Danny, I love you, and I'm praying for you, your mother, daughter, and her mom during this time." A very sweet sentiment, and something you wouldn't expect from one of the queens of rap, who has been known to show only claws and not tenderness, but I digress. So based on this, you would be fine with thinking that Nicki Minaj has been a solid supporter of 6ix9ine throughout his jail tenure, and yet she is not. In fact, outside of that message that she posted on Instagram, she has not made one peep about 6ix9ine, especially after her snitching. Curious, don't you think? More than likely, it's because she has friends who take the code of the streets very seriously, and knows many people who are very opposed to 6ix9ine. While it may have been rational for her to defend him and send him love when he went to jail for very legitimate crimes, it apparently is too much to ask for help and warmth when he becomes a snitch. Even friendships have limits, don't you agree? What do you think Nicki Minaj's real feelings are in regards to 6ix9ine? Go ahead and let me know below. 50 Cent.
I can identify with how he was feeling when you find out that Shotty is sleeping with your baby mother.
Shall we keep the curious cases coming? Good, because I saved one of the best ones for last with 50 Cent. That's right, that 50 Cent. The one rapper who is the sole OG rapper who is apparently supporting 6ix9ine through thick and thin, or at least that is what he is appearing to be doing. To be honest, 50 Cent has been playing both sides of the fence here, and it's getting him a lot of negative attention as a result. Here's the basic timeline. When 50 Cent heard that 6ix9ine was in jail, he did the basic shout out, which a lot of people did. Then when he was confirmed to be a snitch, 50 Cent went and made a meme about 6ix9ine snitching on another rapper who was in jail at the time. It was apparently meant to be a simple joke and not an indictment on what 6ix9ine did, which was shown via a reply after the fact, stating that 50 Cent still likes 6ix9ine and that he's still the king of New York and all that. But after that, he started to catch flack for all the things he had been saying, including from rival Ja Rule, who blasted him on social media for supporting a snitch in any way, which is what he did. Since that point, 50 Cent has become another name on the list of people who don't want to speak about 6ix9ine, but the true test of loyalty may be when 6ix9ine comes out of jail and likely asks 50 Cent for help. 9 Trey Bloods. Do I really have to say it? After all, this is the group that 6ix9ine betrayed in order to get a smaller prison sentence. To say that the 9 Treys betrayed 6ix9ine is honestly having it backwards. He betrayed them. They might have supported him despite all the hate that he garnered from them later on in their friendship, but the moment he betrayed them, that was all gone. He lost every single thing he could have gotten from them, and now with him potentially getting out of jail soon, he's going to have to hope that his friends don't come after him. DaBaby.
Hell yeah, I'd have did a song with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I doubt it.
It would have brought me some bread.
On the surface, DaBaby and 6ix9ine honestly don't have much of a relationship, business or otherwise. However, the reason he made this list was that he was one of the people who didn't mind 6ix9ine as a person or as a rapper. This might be because they both belong to the mumble rapper brand that is filling up the rap world these days, and they are both heavily driven by money. But the other reason he made this list is that he represents one of the larger fractions in the rap community that may not have had a big beef with 6ix9ine and might have wanted to work with him before jail, but won't touch him after he gets out of jail. Why do I say that? In an interview which happened recently, and thus after 6ix9ine was a snitch, DaBaby was asked if he would have been up for working with 6ix9ine on a song before he went to jail. He was very clear in that he would. In fact, he said he would have been foolish to have turned it down, both as a professional opportunity and as a money-making opportunity, because in his mind, despite the infamy that 6ix9ine had gotten for himself, it would have been an opportunity to grow and get more publicity. This means he was very much a guy that didn't mind doing what was unpopular if it meant getting money. However, in the same interview, when asked if he he would work with 6ix9ine if he got out of jail soon, his exact words were no, which is very telling because that means that while he was fine with 6ix9ine's antics and controversial ways, he didn't cross a line that meant something to DaBaby. But when it comes to snitching, that's the line. And it's the one that 6ix9ine willingly crossed and then blabbed to everyone who would listen in order to try and get a lesser sentence. It worked. His sentencing is in about 2 months, but it's come at the cost of people like DaBaby wanting to work with him. And while many rappers have not spoken out about 6ix9ine as a whole in regards to his situation, they're very likely to follow the same strategy as DaBaby, but admit they won't work with him now because he broke the one rule of the streets: don't be a snitch. Many rappers take this rule to heart. What will be interesting to see is who else will follow the path when the time comes. 6ix9ine had friends?
I mean, we here, man. This the real New York City, man.
Tell them what you
know
running.
what I'm saying?
Tell them what you running.
New York Moms, right?
Tell them what you running.
When it comes to 6ix9ine, yes, he did have friends at one point during his rapper career, and not so ironically, many of those friends were the ones that were a part of the 9 Trey Bloods who helped guarantee his rise, while also securing his fall from grace, as we're seeing now. But the truth of the matter is, 6ix9ine is a really big jerk, so much so that his rapper career was spent alienating people in one form or another, just so that he could get more fame. In short, 6ix9ine is a troll, and he did all his trolling on the internet via social media. So why does this mean that he doesn't have friends? Simple. You associate people who like you, who believe in you, or at the very least tolerate you. How many people can honestly say that they tolerate 6ix9ine? Not many. Not for my money, and that's saying something. Actually, no, it's not, because 6ix9ine has never really had a good reputation in his life. Since the moment he decided to go and try and be a rap star, he has done one stupid thing after another in order to try and get fame. His first offense as a rapper was him using underage girls in an explicit video, and the video was to be done just to get up his street cred. He didn't even think to ask the girls their age. And trust me when I say that he's done a lot of stupid after that. That's just the beginning of the legacy of 6ix9ine. And remember what I said about him being a troll? Many rappers have come forward since his arrest and snitching and talked about how the only reason they were feuding with 6ix9ine in the first place was that he was trolling them in order to get a response. Who does that? Someone who is desperate for attention and fame, that's who. He focused most of his rap career on trying to be infamous, not famous. There's a big difference in that, I assure you. Plus, that's just how he treated people he wanted to be rivals to. His so-called friends in the 9 Trey Bloods, who we'll talk more on later, couldn't stand 6ix9ine after a while. What does that say when people you're basically paying to make you famous and give you cred on the streets can't stand you at all? Or how about the rap community in general? He went to such lengths to try and make himself sound important, to make himself sound like a true rapper, that he basically went and ticked off the vast majority of the rap community. One of the biggest ways that he did this was via his nickname that he had for himself and would proclaim from every song and rooftop that he could use. He would say that he was the king of New York, even though rap fans and the rap community know that that's not true. So when you add everything up, when you add everything that 6ix9ine's done over the years, both in and out of the community, you end up with one surefire thing. 6ix9ine may have friends, but that's in spite of everything that he has done, and not because he's a popular guy who is nice to everyone. What would you do? Now, with all this in mind, is the snitching 6ix9ine is doing really a bad thing? Think about it. Since Tekashi 6ix9ine first started defending himself in court by quote snitching, everyone that was on his side turned against him and really speak dirt on his name. There is only a handful of people who are really defending 6ix9ine and are still being there for him, like his record label. Now back to the question. If everyone around you did you dirty, your crew, your manager, your other artist friends, wouldn't you like some payback? I mean, is being called a snitch worse than spending your life in prison? The people Tekashi has snitched on were all doing him dirty. His manager was stealing money from him, and the whole gang itself was planning to hurt him. Now why would Tekashi 6ix9ine defend them? And why would he stick to the no snitching code if they weren't on his side anyway? Would you take life in prison to protect the freedom of someone that was stealing a lot of money from you and plotting against you? Ask yourself that question before you make an official decision on your stance with Tekashi and his snitching. What is next for 6ix9ine?
Rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine reportedly signed a $10 million deal with his former label 10K Projects.
So where does this leave 6ix9ine? Is there anyone out there right now who would be willing to be his friend, be willing to support him despite the label of snitch that is now on him? Yeah, more than likely. If you haven't heard, he potentially has a new record deal coming to him, and that would award him many friends because of the money he'll be making from it, and potentially his songs. And of course, there are people who more than likely will come around to 6ix9ine's line of thinking and believe that he had no choice but to snitch. But in truth, no matter what happens, no matter how far 6ix9ine goes to try and turn away from what happened this last year, there's no doubt that all the people he lost along the way likely won't return to him because of what he's done. And there you have it, a look at 6ix9ine, the people in his life, and who is left after his snitching. What do you think of the situation that he finds himself in? Do you think that he can only blame himself for getting all these people to turn against him? Do you think his new life might lead to new friendships via his new contracts? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe. Guys, it's your boy King Trending, and I'll catch you next time on the next video. Thank you so much.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.